Hello, and welcome to another episode of Disrupt Your Now, the show for entrepreneurs who are ready to shake things up. Tonight, our guest is Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL William Branum, and William owns the company Naked Warrior Recovery. For a minute, I was like NW, couldn't think of it. Naked Warrior Recovery. And it's a CBD company that he started because he realized that it helped with his injuries and symptoms for PTSD, TBI, things like that. So, William, welcome to the show. And I want you to give the audience more of your background because I just totally screwed it up. Tell them your background.
I think you did awesome. You did awesome. So you were like NW and yeah. So, but that is the website because you see it right there. NW. Yeah. NW. So the website for the CBD is nw-recovery.com. So it is Naked Warrior Recovery is the name of the website. And, but just a little bit about me. I grew up in a little town outside of Meridian, Mississippi. Not a lot going on there. I like hunting and fishing. I was heavily involved in the Boy Scouts. I grew up watching like John Wayne movies. I saw a movie called The Green Berets where John Wayne was a Green Beret in Vietnam. I remember watching Rambo maybe as a kid. I watched a movie called Delta Force where Chuck Norris was shooting rockets off the front of dirt bikes, fighting terror and things like that. And I was like, that's what I want to do, something like that. I always knew I wanted to be part of some sort of elite military organization. I just didn't really know what it was because, we had like 4 channels on the TV back in the day. We had like the 2 different knobs and like rabbit ears and like the antenna outside that you had to go and like adjust to get the right channel because I grew up in the wood or in the country. And but I was heavily involved in the Boy Scouts. We were super poor. So, but because of my involvement in the Boy Scouts, the organization there, they paid for me to go to this national jamboree. And that national jamboree was somewhere between my 11th and 12th grade of high school. And it was a cool event. We partnered up with another troop. I think they were from Alabama. And there was a kid in that troop. And he said, hey, I think I talked about what I wanted to do when I grew up. Like I want to be a something, maybe a Marine Corps sniper or something. And because the Marines, they had like the really cool commercials back then. They had like these guys like fighting dragons with swords and shields. And it was super cool. And they've got cool looking uniforms. And there was also a naval air station in my town. And so I always knew that I would never, ever join the Navy.
Funny.
Weird.
Were you in Meridian? Were you in Meridian? Okay.
Yeah. Right outside of Meridian. And so we went to this national jamboree and this guy that I shared a tent with, he was like, I'm going to be an F-14 Tomcat pilot and a Navy SEAL when I grow up. And I'm like, what's that? What's a name? Like, I know what I saw the movie Top Gun, super cool movie. I want to fly jets like that. What's a Navy SEAL? And he's like, oh, they're most elite military, fighting force in the world, small units. They jump out of airplanes, they blow stuff up, they scuba dive, they do all these other things. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be one of those guys. And they're really good shape, hardest military training in the world. I'm like, yep, sign me up. Where do I go? And then, not knowing anything about anything, I got back from that national jamboree. A week later or so, the Navy recruiter, because they've got a list of people who are getting ready to graduate the following year, they just get on the phone and start dialing for dollars. And the guy was like, so have you ever thought about joining the Navy? And if he'd have called me 6 months earlier, I would have been like, hell no, you got the wrong.
Exactly.
But I was like, well, to be honest with you, I want to be a Navy SEAL and I want to be an F-14 Tomcat pilot. And he's like, check. Why don't you come on down here to the recruiting office and let's have a conversation. And so I did. I went down to the recruiting office. We had a conversation. They showed me a really cheesy movie about Navy SEALs. And I was like, awesome. Where do I sign? And then also, how do I become a F-14 Tomcat pilot? How do I go to Top Gun? And they're like, oh, easy. It's one step at a time. We got programs for that. And we got some things and some stuff that you have to do. And it turns out that my hearing was so bad, even before I joined the Navy, that I didn't qualify for a pilot program, even if I had a degree. But I signed up for the delayed entry program. And basically, I joined the Navy before I graduated high school. So I joined the Navy but I didn't go to boot camp until after I graduated. A couple weeks after I graduated, I went to boot camp. because I wanted to become a Navy SEAL. I thought it was in pretty good shape. And then I went and took the Navy SEAL screening test, the physical fitness test. It's a swim. You do push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and then you do a 1.5 mile run in long pants and boots. And there's, you know, scores that you have to, like a certain number of push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups. You have to swim a certain speed, like finish the swim at a certain time, finish the run at a certain time. And I failed the fitness test the first time I took it.
Oh, no.
And so, and actually what I say is I quit on the fitness test. Because I was shooting for the minimum number. I wasn't shooting for like the maximum number. Like the minimum number of push-ups that you had to do is 52. Now I'm like, only 52? That's it? Yeah. But, you know, I got to like 37 or 38. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do any more. So, excuse me. And so I was like, okay, I'll get in better shape and I'll go back and try it again. And so I graduated boot camp. I went to my technical school, which is a gunner's mate school, where you know, I thought that was something cool. It had to do with guns. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't have very much to do with guns, at least, you know, small arms guns. It has to do with these big giant guns that are on these big gray floating platforms out in the ocean. Yeah. And so, or the missile launchers. It has to do with electronics, hydraulics, and pneumatics. Pretty much it. That's what it's all about. And so I went to the 6-month school. You know, it was like winter north of Chicago. And I was like, I need to go take the test. I know I do, but I'm not willing to get up at like 3 a.m. to go, you know, across the base to take the test and do the thing and then make it back in time. And so I should have done that, but I didn't. So I waited till it got a little bit warmer. And then we were a few weeks out from graduation. Now it's my chance to go take the test. And I thought, but I was high enough ranked in the class that I took another school for 4 more months. And I thought to myself that I'll get in better shape and then I'll go take the SEAL screening test and then I'll go to BUD/S and become a SEAL and, you know, life is good after that. Well, what I didn't know is because I took those orders to that 4-month school, they were attached to a ship in Yokosuka, Japan. So I was like, so I was at the school about 2 months in and I'm like, hey, I want to go take the SEAL screening test. And they're like, okay. They looked into it. They're like, you're not taking that. You have to go to your ship. I'm like, I don't want to go to a ship. I want to become a Navy SEAL. And they're like, sorry, bro, you took these orders and they're attached to that ship. I'm like, what if I fail out of the school? Then you're still going to that ship. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a quitter. So let's just finish the course. So I finished the course. I went to Japan. And at the 9-month mark, you call your SEAL your detailer and ask him, hey, I want to go to some other place. I called my detailer to say, hey, I'm going to put a package in to go to SEAL training. And he said, that's great that you want to do that, but I'm not going to let you go. You're too critical to the Navy. You know, that 4-month school that you went to, that makes you more critical to the Navy than being a Navy SEAL. There were no wars back then. So, and I was like using logic. I'm like, but the re-enlistment bonus for a gunner's mate is like $4,000 and the re-enlistment bonus for a SEAL is $20,000. That doesn't add up. Like who, what, really? And so I called the SEAL detailer and they're like, sorry, bro, your detailer has to let you go. So I went ahead and I finally passed the SEAL screening test. I did all the medical stuff, all the physical stuff, all the everything, and submitted my package to the detailers. My fate is in their hands now. I got letters of recommendation. I did all the things that I'm supposed to do, and they're still not letting me go. And then the chief of naval operations, who is the most senior guy in the Navy, the only people more senior to him is the Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States. So he's the top person in the Navy. And he came to my little ship in Yokosuka, Japan. There's like 15 or 20 ships in Japan. He only came to my ship, and he had CNO's call. And he's like, hey, this is my plan for the Navy, blah, 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 this and that. Does anyone have any questions? And I raised my hand. And he calls on me. And he was like, and I said, I joined the Navy to be a SEAL. I think I deserve a chance to go. My detailer won't let me go. I think I deserve a chance. What do you think? And he turns to my commanding officer and he says, is he a good guy? And my CO says, yes, he was the sailor of the quarter this quarter, which is like employee of the month. And so he turns back to me. He was like, check, you'll be in the first class after your PRD, which is planned rotational date. And 6 weeks later, I'm off to California to SEAL training. So
that is so cool.
Yeah, that's how I became a SEAL.
That's a great lesson to not be afraid to ask.
Right. I mean, it wasn't my idea to ask, actually.
Yeah.
It was other people came up. Everyone knew what I wanted to do. There were guys that had quit SEAL training that were on my ship. But there were some guys, they were like, the CNO is coming to our ship. He's a common sense leader. And because he's done, common sense policy changes throughout his entire career, you should ask him if he'll let you go to SEAL training. And I'm like, okay. Like some of it was just ignorance, just whatever. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And I did tell my commanding officer, I'm like, the CNO's coming. I didn't understand like the magnitude of like how powerful this guy is. But I'm like, this is an opportunity. So I'm going to take the opportunity. And so if he didn't come to my ship, he went to some other ship, I would have gone to that ship and asked the question.
Oh, funny.
Like that was in my head. Like, this is the only way I'm going to get there, apparently. And so off to SEAL training I went. And it took me a short 13 months to get through that 6-month block of training because I got hurt a few times along the way.
So was this in the 90s?
It was, yeah.
Okay. I was trying
early
to
90s.
Oh, okay. That's such
that does
a cool
not make me old.
Then. Oh, hell no, you're not old. I'm 60. William, I'm 60. So you're a baby.
Just spring chicken.
Yeah, I mean, I was raising my kids in the 90s. I had 2 little babies at home. So you made it into the SEALs.
Yep. Let's see. So I got hurt along the way, though. So I got hurt in SEAL training several times. So much. I got hurt once. I got rolled back. They're like, okay, go heal up. Then I got hurt again. And they were like, the first guy I talked to said, well, clearly you didn't prepare. So we're going to send you back to the fleet. And I'm like, whoa. This is not going to work out. That's not an acceptable answer to me. And so I went to see the second guy. So you go see 2 different people. And the second guy, I'm like crying, bawling. I'm like, you can't, please don't let me go. Please let me stay. I don't know what's wrong with me, but like it just broke. If I leave, I may never have an opportunity to come back because of the whole CNO thing and blah, blah, whatever. And so he leaves. And he says, go stand outside. And he left for like 3 hours. And I'm standing there on my crutches and broken. And I watch my class come in and they're all wet and sandy and they look miserable. And all I can think is like, I want to be like that. I want to be wet and cold and miserable and whatever. And then he finally comes back like 3 hours later. He's like, what are you doing here? I said, you told me to wait for you. And he said, go check in. You're going into the next class. If you get hurt again, then you're done. And I'm like, okay. I never healed up from whatever that injury was. It was some weird injury where my leg just didn't work. But I passed enough of the timed evolutions and I made it through Hell Week. And then that injury miraculously healed during Hell Week, like about Wednesday of Hell Week, it like everything started working properly. But because I had like gimped like the whole time I was in SEAL training, I created huge stress fractures on the other leg. So I made it through Hell Week and I'm like, oh, I went to medical and they're like, we recommend that you roll. And I'm like, I'll go. But if they say that they're going to kick me out, I'm just going to stay and just suck it up and like go through with a broken leg. And so because I'd made it through that milestone of Hell Week, I still had like 4 more months of training to go. But because I made it through that milestone, then they let me stay. And then I just continued the rest of the way through. And I went from there. I went to airborne school where you learn how to fall down for 3 weeks before they let you jump out of an airplane. And then I finally got to the SEAL teams.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. Sorry, I keep scratching my nose. My allergies are blowing up.
It's all good.
And they waited until I got on here live with you to do it. So whatever.
That's how it works. 100%.
That's right. So you were in the Navy. So you were in the, I know now I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So you're in the Navy, you were SEAL, and you actually retired as a SEAL, right?
Yeah. So I did 26 years total.
Okay, that's what I thought.
23 of my 26 years, I was in the SEAL teams.
Yeah. My husband did 26 years too. Not a SEAL though. But he did like you. He actually enlisted right before he graduated. Way older than you. He could be your daddy. So you did the SEAL thing. You had major adventures all over the world. Then you retired. And then you had to live with all the injuries and the PTSD and everything. So when you first got out, what did you do? Did you get like a regular job or were you just trying to figure out what you wanted to do?
So my last 3 years in the Navy, I was a science and technology director for the command that I worked at. So basically what that was is we had what we call operational deficiencies. So it's something goes wrong, or we find that we need a new technology in order to do the mission, that becomes an operational deficiency. Maybe it's a tactic, techniques, a procedure thing, and we were able to solve that at a lower level. Maybe it's a technology thing or an equipment thing or something like that. And then those things get elevated up the chain of command. They get adjudicated at the admiral's level. And then, we have this list of operational deficiencies. There's no funding associated with that. Even though you have a problem, there's no funding, no research and development dollars that go along with that. So my last 3 years, I was asked to go find solutions for these problems that we have at the team that I was associated with. And so I went out and found $16 million of other people's money to solve some of these problems. We created technologies like some different kind of high-speed inflatable technologies that were very compact, that were able to lift our mini submarine out of the water and tow it behind, high-speed vessels at like 40 knots. We created underwater communication capabilities so that I can communicate from, the bottom of the ocean over the horizon to like a headquarters. I can send full motion video. I can voice text, voice communications. I can have a UAV overhead, and I can be in the submarine bottomed out on the bottom of the ocean before I send guys out. And I can see if there are, people on the beach, or there's something out there that, some kind of danger before I, put guys over the beach. So that was pretty cool capability. We created quantum cascading lasers, whatever that is. Oh my gosh. So we did some, I did some pretty cool stuff. So I took that experience and that Rolodex, and I created a company to help other companies navigate the military acquisition system. So if you had a widget, a technology, and you wanted to maybe sell it to the government, but maybe it wasn't quite ready for prime time, I could take the technology. I could go find a government sponsor, like a military unit that might benefit from this technology once it's ready for prime time. And then I can go find other people's money to throw at it, R&D dollars, to turn it into something that actually meets an operational requirement. And so I did okay in that job. I mean, I did a little over, I did in the six figures. I wasn't happy. I didn't like what I was doing. And a lot of companies, they didn't want to hire me for my experience. They wanted to hire me as a salesperson. And they, I called myself a consultant, and they're like, we don't like consultants, so therefore we're not going to pay you. We want you to sell our product, but we're not going to pay you until you make a bunch of sales. What?
And they wanted your connections.
That doesn't compute. And so I did, some other things, and but I wasn't happy. I didn't like a lot of the things I was doing, or some of the people, So anyway.
It's a really hard transition. People don't realize going from the military to the civilian world is so different.
And what I say a lot of times is, when I transitioned, I consider that to be the hardest military mission I've ever been on, because I went from like waking up in the morning, having a purpose, having a mission, having a team of just like badass individuals who are going to hold me accountable. I hold them accountable. Like, I know what I'm doing when I wake up in the morning. I know what I'm going to do when I go to bed at night. Like I know my purpose, my mission in life. The day that I retired, I lost all of that. It was like my world had vanished. Like I'd lost everything. And so that's the way I felt. I also was, struggling with some, I like to call baggage. I don't call it PTSD. I just call it baggage. Some of it is, on the job stuff. And some of it's, maybe some not so awesome relationships that I've been a part of that just continue to not, put bad noises in my head. And so the way that I would sort of medicate myself to turn that noise down, or kind of dull that noise out, is I would pretty much just turn on, glasses of alcohol. And so just to kind of dull the noise so that I could go to sleep. And that wasn't like super healthy. So I have this job that I've created for myself. It does okay, but I'm struggling with like trying to find mission and purpose in that job. I'm struggling with other things in my life. I'm struggling with my health and sleep and all this other stuff. And, I'd heard about this molecule called CBD, And so, but I was afraid to try it because, you know, I still had my top secret clearance.
Right.
I am a child of Nancy Reagan's war on drugs. Just say no.
Yeah.
You know, this is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Maybe it's from marijuana. I don't know. And, but at some point I'm like, I feel like I need to try this because I had heard, you know, it's good for stress, anxiety. It helps you sleep better, reduces chronic inflammation. It does all these like things for the body. And I'm like, I'm like, screw it. I'm going to try it. And so I was having lunch with a friend of mine. I was in Virginia, and I told him, I'm like, hey, this was 2019. I'm going to see if I can find some CBD here in the Virginia Beach area, because maybe what you have here is better than what we have in Hawaii. I don't know anything about it. It wasn't quite as popular as it is now with like CBD stores on every corner of everywhere and gas stations and things like that. But he was like, if you want CBD, I've got some at home, because a company sent him a bunch of stuff and I tried it, and maybe it helped me sleep a little better. Maybe I was a little less pissed off the next day. And what I like to say is water boils at 212 degrees. And I was probably living at like 210 degrees.
Wow.
So what I noticed, I didn't notice anything. Like, you don't get high, you don't feel anything when you take CBD. It's non-psychoactive. But what I noticed is after I finished that bottle of CBD is, you know, that my thermostat went from like 210 to 205 to 200 to 195 to 190, maybe 185. I got out of that red zone and into more of like an orange zone, maybe bright yellow. And so my fuse got longer, and then the pains and aches that I wake up with every day, they were just not quite as bad. They're still there.
Yeah, so the effect is
not
cumulative.
quite as bad.
Right,
it's a cumulative effect. And then, you know, I stopped taking it because I ran out, and then I started getting closer to that boiling point again. And I was like, maybe it was a placebo. Maybe it was something else. So I tried a different brand. I got similar results. I'm like, this is making a positive impact on my quality of life.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in the industry. Then I was at a business conference trying to figure my stuff out. And I met someone in the CBD industry, and I went up to her and I was like, so I want to do CBD. Really, I was hoping that she would hire me so I could be part of a team now, and with mission and purpose and all that other stuff. And she was like, so do you want to do A to B, B to B, or B to C? And I said, I want to do CBD. I don't know if you understand. Like, I thought you were in the industry. And she was like, well, why don't you just start your own CBD company? And I said, I don't know how to do that. And she leaned in and she said, you're a Navy SEAL. You can figure it out.
Oh,
I was like,
it.
may I please have my man card back? And she graciously gave it to me. I put it in my pocket to never give up again. So she educated me on the industry. I found out that it's incredibly dirty industry, still very dirty. And so my mission became create the highest quality product in the market. Well, I found the highest quality suppliers out there, and everyone has a premium quality CBD. So that was no longer my mission. Still providing that high quality product, but that wasn't my mission anymore. My mission, like, this is just the standard. Status quo is premium, highest quality. My new mission became, okay, what's bigger than me? And I looked at myself. Who can I support with my company? I looked at myself, and I'm a veteran, and I've struggled with baggage and things like that. And then I found the statistic that 22 veterans take their lives every single day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
We've lost more veterans to suicide than we have to 20 years of sustained combat in 2 theaters of war. And so our mission at Naked Warrior Recovery became 22-0 to eliminate that veteran suicide. And so, and to make it even more personal, I didn't even think about it until late last year, is that my dad is one of those 22. My dad took his own life. So, and he's a veteran. So it became a more personal mission for us at Naked Warrior Recovery. And so, I look at CBD to be like a modality. It just helped turn the noise down in my head so I could have more positive self-talk. And then, so from there, what I did is I created what I call the get naked mindset. And what that is, when I talk about getting naked, I talk about taking your ego off, taking that armor that you're wearing around off and setting in the corner, taking that baggage that you're carrying around off, it's setting in the corner, that baggage that maybe you put some of that baggage in there yourself, but some other people have put more crap, more rocks in that bag that you're carrying around. So take it off, set it in the corner, so that you can find some of the healing and the recovery that you need. And then, so that's, you know, sort of the get naked mindset. And then there's also, I turned naked into an acronym because, you know, turning the noise down is one piece of it, but, you know, get naked is also it's a lifestyle. Yeah. So you take the ego off, but then you also have to take action. And so the naked stands for, the N stands for never quit. The A stands for accept failure. The K stands for kill mediocrity. The E stands for expose your fears. And the D stands for do the work. And you have to do that every single day. And they all work together in their own way. And I have a keynote that I give. And from this transition that I've gone through and starting, you know, 2 businesses, now I've taken that and I've started a 3rd business where I do public speaking and I do business leadership coaching under the 5 SEAL Secrets brand. And again, the secret for 5 SEAL Secrets is to get naked. And that's really the foundation for most of the things that we do. Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of people that would like to get naked with some SEALs, but hey, we'll talk about
it. And that's what I say when I'm on stage. And I'm like, this is an acronym that you're not going to forget. And the acronym is NAKED. And I'm not talking about that kind of naked, you dirty-minded.
That's right. Dirty-minded old woman. But I love it because it does make it easy to remember and easy to remember, but just the word is memorable. You know, acronyms make it easy to remember anyway, but naked, everybody can remember naked. You know?
No one's going to forget. And I have people like reach back out to me on Instagram or whatever. And they're like, what does naked stand for again? They remember like 2 or 3, but they don't remember all of them. So
yeah. Well, and don't you have something that people can download on your site, right?
Yeah. So if you go to the website, the number 5sealsecrets.com, put your name and email in there, and I'll email you a copy. It's a PDF. It's about 7 or 8 pages. It really breaks down what each one of those 5 SEAL secrets are. You know, really what the N stands for never quit, the A for accept failure, the K, kill mediocrity, the E, expose your fears, and the D, do the work. So that's the number 5, sealsecrets.com. And you just put name and email and we'll send it to you.
Yeah. I love all 5 of those. And then, like you said, every day, you have to do it every day. People make the mistake of thinking, oh, I'll just do this and then I'll be okay and I'll be okay forever. And they look at everybody else and they think, oh, they have this great, perfect life. And they don't realize that everybody has to get out of bed.
How much work goes into that?
Yeah, you have to do the shit every day. Everybody
and that's,
has to
and that's really what the D is all about, is do the work. And it's really about that instant gratification. People, there's the saying that Rome wasn't built in a day. I guarantee it was built every single day until it became an empire. And that's what it's all about. It's not because we're especially today, we got, social media and TikTok, and we're stuck in this instant gratification sort of mindset. I do it once and I should be good, just like you mentioned.
Right.
It's not like that. You got to do the work. The work never ends. Like, you have to continue if you want to improve your life, you have to continue improving your life. Those people that have the perfect life, they're still working. They're still trying to, get to the next level. They're trying to reach the next and the next and the next. That's why they have income and purpose and mission. They do that work every single day.
So when you were first taking the CBD, were you taking oil? How were you taking it?
It was an oil. It was, you put under your tongue and hold it there for a minute or two. I don't even know if I was putting it under my tongue and holding it, back then. It was probably just because I didn't know what I know now. I know a lot more now. I was probably just taking it and just swallowing it. But that kind of oil, it's this kind of oil right here. It's like something like that.
Okay.
And you just, you put it under your tongue or swish it around in your mouth, and your mouth is very vascular. So it starts to absorb it through the mucous membrane and into your kind of vascular system. And that's one of the quicker ways and easier ways to get CBD into the body. But we have a ton of products. We have tinctures like that. We have topicals because some people don't want to take it, but it helps with some kinds of pain. We have gummies because some people can't swallow pills. I didn't even realize this. Some people can't swallow pills. We have pills. One of my favorite products is actually a sleep product. It has CBD, a little bit of melatonin, and CBN. CBN is the sedative molecule in the hemp plant. So the hemp plant, which is where CBD comes from, it has over 120 different terpenes, which are essential oils, and minor cannabinoids being THC, CBD, CBN, CBG, THCV. There's a bunch of other minor cannabinoids, and they all kind of work synergistically with the body.
Yeah.
And so one of the things about our product is we maintain most of those minor cannabinoids and terpenes, but we remove the THC molecule because a lot of people still have that stigma of THC. Maybe they're concerned about drug testing and things like that. So we remove that molecule just to give peace of mind so that you can have a product that is going to help support your endocannabinoid system, which is this giant neuroreceptor system that's in the body that is connected to every other system. And that's really what CBD does. It's not like curing cancer or anything like that. There are companies that are making those claims out there. But what CBD does is it helps bring your endocannabinoid system back into balance. And then that helps bring the rest of the systems in the body back into balance.
Okay.
I can totally nerd out on it, but I'm like trying to keep it very.
No, that's cool because I've read a bit about it, but I don't understand, how it works.
Yeah.
Or why or all
yeah.
that.
So it's just, so it helps reduce chronic inflammation. It helps with certain kinds of epilepsy. So there is a pharmaceutical called Epidiolex, and it's been, placebo, double blind, blah, blah, whatever, FDA approved for certain kinds of childhood epilepsy.
Oh, wow.
It's the same stuff it's just CBD. It's nothing special about it. It just has that FDA approval, and they sell it for a lot of money. And I don't think insurance covers it. Where you can just get it from a good quality, CBD company.
Well, like Naked Warrior Recovery.
Like Naked Warrior Recovery. Would be my, because not all CBD is the same.
That's right.
And, someone asked me once upon a time, and I'll explain my answer here. Someone asked me once upon a time, what's the difference between your CBD and the CBD that I get in a gas station? And, I wish I had said the answer, but after I explained like how dirty the industry is, someone else that was standing next to me, they were like, so what's the difference between the sushi that you buy in the gas station and the sushi that you buy in a sushi house? Do you really want to roll the bones with gas station sushi? Why would you roll the bones with gas station CBD? And the reason that it's kind of like that is because, I said that earlier that the CBD industry is extremely dirty. Is the FDA has gone out and done many spot checks. Different media organizations have gone out and done random tests of like different products in the market. And they found that most of the products either don't have CBD in them, they don't have the amount of CBD they say they have in them. They have high levels of heavy metals, mercury, arsenic, lead, things like that, pesticides, herbicides. When you're putting something into your body to be like I'm using air quotes here, medicine, you don't want to be putting all those poisons and toxins in your body, or they have high levels of THC outside the legal limit of 0.3% or less. And so all of our products are independent lab, third-party tested, every batch that comes out. So we extract, the hemp gets harvested, it gets dried, and then the oil gets extracted from the plant. That oil gets sent away to a independent third-party lab to make sure that it's like good quality oil, like there's no crap in it. And then it goes through the manufacturing process to be turned into the tincture you put under your tongue, gummies, pills, topicals, whatever it is. And then that final product gets tested again. That batch of that product gets tested again at an independent third-party lab to make sure there was no contamination in the manufacturing process. Most of the big name CBD companies that you see out there, they do the testing of the oil out of the plant, but they don't test it again. They don't test the final product. And so we test everything. And that's how I can confidently say that we have some of the highest quality products in the market.
That's awesome.
Know, like what you're putting in your body is what's on this label right here. So
yeah, because hello, what good is it going to do for you to take it if it's full of heavy metals and rat poop or whatever?
Exactly.
Ryan
mold
Garrett,
and toxin.
Yeah, Ryan Garrett. This is our NASCAR driver's dad. He says CBD changed my life when I started taking it at night. He still wakes up, but he can fall back to sleep rather than, and then he wants to know if you have found a CBD mix that helps with essential tremor.
I'm not 100% sure what essential tremor is.
Like your hand
I'll
trembling, your hand trembling a little.
I think if you just upped your dose of CBD, it would be definitely helpful.
Okay.
I can't make any medical claims ever because lots of companies do that.
You'll be out of business.
There's some serious lawsuits out there about that from the FDA and from other organizations where they've made like claims like CBD prevents the COVID. And there's some studies out there that have shown where people who are using it have either less of a response or they had, no symptoms of it. But I can't make that claim either, even though I've read those studies and I'm like, that's interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. But all the cause and effect and everything. And then James Bloomfield, James also said that when you were talking about he said that it's really great. Awesome. So when you started the company, so you decided that you were going to start it, what was your journey like starting it?
Again, I had no idea what I was doing. And so I just Googled it. I Googled like how to start a CBD company. Oh, you have to I had already built one company, with LLCs and things like that. And then I'm like, oh, I've never built a website before. I've never so I'm like reaching out to people like, how do I build a website? How do I do this? And so I just, went into, pretty significant debt trying to figure it out, hiring sometimes the wrong people, getting the wrong product, as simple things like just the label. Like I've gone through 15 different iterations of labels at this point until I've landed on something that I'm actually happy with. I was afraid to make sort of these bold adjustments in label design. And so that's, as I look back on my SEAL career and some of the consulting and coaching that I do now, I tell people to make bold adjustments. If you're just sort of being mediocre in life and you're making these small adjustments, but you're not seeing any real big changes, make a gigantic change in your life. And I really learned that when I was a sniper instructor in the SEAL teams. And, I've spent a lot of time on the range, a lot of time, helping guys sight their guns in. You would think that Navy SEALs would be really good at sighting their guns in. They're not actually, most of them are not even that good at swimming or don't like it. I'm one of those guys also. I can sight my gun in though. But, you would see these guys that are, they're great operators, but marksmanship isn't their thing, or, they're staff guys. And then now they're leading men in combat. And we would go to the range and they would just be shooting, and I would see them get frustrated, and I'm kind of running the range and things like that. And they're like, there's something wrong with my gun, my scope, my sights, they're not working. And I would just go over, I would take their gun and I would just make these incredible bold adjustments to their optic. And I'll say, okay, they're like, you just broke my thing. You can't move it that much. I'm like, just go ahead and shoot. And so then they would shoot, and they would see that their impact, they moved across the paper, but their impact was much closer to the bullseye because I made these bold adjustments. And so, and then they could make those tiny adjustments on the way back. And so that was one of the things that I had to incorporate into my own business in the beginning, is people aren't buying for this reason or that reason, or that I don't know anything about it. So I made bold adjustments, to my label. I made bold adjustments to just the fact that I said "get naked" as my slogan. That was kind of whoa, I don't know about that. That's that's a little risque. But that was a bold adjustment, and it's paying me back now because I was brave enough to make those bold adjustments.
And it's you're targeting the message to the kind of customer you want. If somebody's offended by the word naked, they need to go down to the corner store, to the convenience store or whatever, and get their CBD, right?
Yeah. But I had to get out of my own head about that. Yeah. I'm I don't, I was a little Southern Baptist boy growing up. And so you don't talk about that sort of stuff, but you have to at some point.
Yeah. So how did you overcome? Because right now, like you said, everywhere you look, there's CBD. So
Yes.
how have you, I know you've done it through your messaging, Get Naked, the labels and so forth, but how have you like marketed and gotten people's attention and differentiated in order for people to understand how really different you are? Your product is.
It's really difficult because I can't run ads on social media. I can't run
Yeah.
ads on like, even you connected me with the Rosie Network, I believe. And
Yeah.
then they put out something about, oh, there's this event at, I forgot where it was, in Texas, maybe at the
Oh, for
biggest.
good. Yeah, the thing
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
And I was like, awesome. Well,
But you
on the
couldn't do
website,
CBD.
you can't do CBD. Like, it's still demonized. It's demonized on social media.
Yeah.
It's demonized by the military. It's demonized by all these organizations. And so getting the word out, because I have no real budget over here,
Mhm.
I've gotten on podcasts.
Yeah.
And so I have been on, in the last 12 months, I've been on over 150 podcasts in the last 12
Wow.
months.
Yeah.
I do 3 to 5 a week, sometimes 7 a week.
Mhm.
And I'm certain that I'm over 150 in the last 12 months at this point. But yeah, I mean, I've done 3 this week already, and it's Tuesday. So,
Well, in any time that people can feel like they know you,
yeah,
so it's more than a label, it's more than a company. It's, oh, that's that guy William that likes to get naked.
right.
It
Yeah,
occupies that space in their mind, and they're more likely to remember you and go, oh, if I'm going to buy something, I should buy this instead of this
right.
one that I don't know anything about.
Right. And so I've started to get on stages now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you build that know, like, and trust factor. You get up there that I have a great message. My presentation that I give when I get on stage is to get naked. It's the 5
Mm-hmm.
SEAL secrets to learn how to think like a Navy SEAL. And, I tell them the reason that I started the CBD company and what naked stands for and all these other things. And so that helps also. The more that I can get out and just like word of mouth, and then people start, recommending me to other people. And that's been super helpful.
Well, and the speaking is a great idea. I mean, it would be good anyway for you, but it's also great for the product because you
Right.
have a captive audience, but you're able to talk about your product in a way that isn't marketing. So
Right.
you're talking about it incidentally, but then that makes people trust it more than if it were marketing.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why I've just done a bunch of podcasts. I just get on
Uh-huh.
people's shows. They have an audience, and so yeah, it's been super. It's a steep learning curve for sure.
Yeah. So how did you find like the suppliers that you use of the actual product?
I got on the internet and I started like Googling like suppliers,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and and I would interview them, and then I would like
Mm-hmm.
look at their lab results, and I went through before I picked any, I had to trust them.
Yeah.
And some of them were like, oh yeah, we do third-party tests. Look at our website. And you could look at the website, and there was like one lab result that wasn't for a product that they carried at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and many of the companies are like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't do a great job of updating our lab results all the time, but we put a QR code on every product that we sell. I don't know if we can like
Yeah.
get that QR code.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So you can go to that, scan it with your phone, and then there's a batch number on the bottom, and you put in the batch number, and it takes you to the actual lab results
For that batch.
for that batch of
That's
product.
brilliant, William.
Yeah.
That's great because that's what people want is information. And the
Yeah.
more information that you can give them that's trustworthy and objective or whatever, that's awesome.
Right.
I didn't know that you had that.
Yeah. So try to make it as transparent as possible. Because again, the industry the FDA is still not ready to regulate it, but I don't even think that means anything because the FDA regulates cigarettes. So does that really mean that they're good for you?
Exactly. And the FDA regulates Oxy and all that stuff.
Right. And let's talk about that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, personally, this is my own personal opinion, but for years I have felt like most of the reason that marijuana was illegal in the first place, and of course we're talking about hemp, not marijuana, but still, was because of the tobacco industry and the alcohol industry. Because it's like, you know, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but
you're close. It was actually based in they made marijuana illegal, and they used racism as a catalyst to make it.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
And so it was I forgot the guy's name, but he had a huge paper mill, like the biggest in the country, and hemp, which is an industrial plant, like trees. Hemp is an industrial plant. He saw hemp as competition, and so there was, you know, what they call marijuana now.
Yeah.
That what do they call it? That propaganda, they started calling it marijuana, and they, you know, based it off of the racism of Mexicans. They're going to get high on that marijuana, and they're going to come over and they're going to rape your daughters. Those Mexicans are. And so that's how they passed marijuana as, you know, illegal in the United States through Congress. It was like through racism.
Wow. I didn't know that. And then though, hemp got bundled all in with that because people don't understand the difference, and they're just like,
and it was, hemp has only been legal in the United States. I believe it was the Farm Bill of 2018. So December 20th of 2018 made hemp legal again in the United States, and which made CBD legal, because CBD is derived from hemp and not from the other plant.
Yeah, I can't remember if I already said this, but the area that I live in Virginia is a big agricultural area. It used to be tobacco farming, and now I'm kind of transitioning over to hemp. And a guy that I grew up with owns a hemp processing facility here and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think it's great because there's so many.
I think
uses.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and everything from health to fabrics and stuff. So,
and it's funny, like hemp has been a medicine for thousands of years. So, you know, but now we have to and so the interesting thing about, you know, pharmaceuticals is that I think 20% of the pharmaceuticals come from a plant. They're plant derived. And what they do is they find the molecule from that plant that does something for the body, and they synthesize it, and they make a synthetic version of that molecule to focus on one specific area. And that's how the pharmaceutical industry works. Why don't you just use the real thing? It's
well, and then that way they can
you.
patent it and everything too, I guess.
Yeah.
So, well, so if people want to buy your product, they buy it through your site, right? Or is it available in any stores, or it's all online?
There are some gyms that sell my products, a few kind of scattered around the country. But for the most part, buy it online. The website again is nw-recovery.com.
Yeah, simplest, easiest. Just go buy it. It'll show up on in your mailbox or whatever, on your porch, and and so it ships from Hawaii, or does it ship from?
No, my distribution center is in California.
Oh, okay.
So the CBD comes from Colorado, then it goes to my distribution center in California, and then it's shipped out from there.
Okay. So NW-recovery.
Dash the horizontal line.
Recovery.
Or you can type in all one word, Naked Warrior Recovery, all one word.com. But I changed it to NW-recovery because maybe people didn't want to write naked in their search engine. I'm not really sure why.
It's true.
It's just like epiphany that came one day. But if you type in NW Recovery, it's not going to go to my website. It's going to go to Northwestern Recovery, which is like alcohol rehab or something like that. So you have to put the dash in there, or you can do Naked Warrior CBD, maybe. NW-recovery is the best thing to do. Or you can Google me and I probably will show it.
And then the secrets of Navy SEAL.
Yep, learn how to think like a Navy SEAL. Is the number 5. Yeah, 5sealsecrets.com.
Okay, 5sealsecrets.com. So look, y'all, go to NW-recovery and buy you some CBD and try it out. And then go to the number 5sealsecrets.com, right?
Correct.
And get the 5 secrets. I got to go get that too. So I don't have that.
And you know what? So just a quick story about that is I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's in the outdoor apparel industry, and he was having some problems with his CEO. Not really problems with the CEO. They just got a bunch of money from a venture capitalist company. So there was a lot of pressure on the CEO to like, you know, double profits, double revenue, like quarter over quarter, because the venture capital folks want their money back, you know, very quickly.
Yeah.
And so the CEO was like, you know, putting all this pressure on the team. And my buddy was like charge of, you know, production and design and all these other things. And so we were talking one day, and he also has like some personal stuff that he was dealing with. And I was giving him my experience and my suggestions. And then also talk to him, you know, why don't you sit down with your CEO and like have a little strategy, you know, talk. Let's figure out what our short, medium, and long-term goals are, blah, 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 whatever. And then, by the way, you know, check out my 5 SEAL secrets. This was right after I put it out there. And so he downloaded it, he read it, and it was like, he was like, oh, this is good. So he printed it out and laminated it and put it on his wall.
Oh,
the next day, he goes into his CEO, and my buddy is not that assertive. Like, he's an incredibly smart guy, but he's like very reserved and kind of like let bygones be bygones. And he told me, he walked into his CEO's office. He was like, okay, listen, Lisa, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to perform for you. And he was like, what? Stop right there. First of all, number one, why are you being assertive? Number two, why are you saying you're afraid? And number three, why are you being honest about it? No one does any of those things. So what's going on with you? And he's like, so my buddies, his 5 SEAL secrets, I'm exposing my fear right now. And I'm afraid if you talk to us the way that you talked to us the other day, then I will not be able to perform for you. Oh, can you share those 5 SEAL secrets? Because I need to know what the heck you're talking about right
now.
Awesome.
And
then so they've like worked stuff out. And so that's turned into some more speaking and coaching engagements sort of on that side of it. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, if I don't say so myself, I did an all right job writing that.
No, I love that. I'm glad that you said that. That's great, because it gives listeners another way that they may be able to use it, because, you know, it's great to use it in our own business, but in communicating with other people and,
right,
you know, navigating relationships and stuff.
I mean, it is the foundation that I use when I'm doing coaching. You know, it applies to every industry out there. And it's just a mindset on how you live your life and how do you run your business and things like that.
So if somebody wants you to come and speak or do coaching, do you coach like whole groups? Do you do one-on-one? Now
I'm just doing one-on-one clients, but you know, as the demand grows and there's only so much of me to go around, I will open it up to group size coaching.
Yeah, you're doing one-on-one coaching, but then the speaking would be like to a company,
to groups,
to a group. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I was actually out in California last week before, and I don't know. Do you know who Zig Ziglar is?
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So his son Tom Ziglar.
Oh wow.
I shared the stage with Tom, and we were out in San Jose together speaking to an organization.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was pretty cool.
Gosh. Yeah, I used to, like when I started our very first business in 1990, I listened to Zig Ziglar all the time because I had no background in marketing or sales. I was an accountant back in the day. And
I don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, and I was like, marketing and sales, you know, and so I had my cassette tapes, and everywhere I drove, I have a tape in listening. My kids would.
That's awesome. Like, oh my God. Which is funny because the guy that brought me out, he was like, "Oh, this is Zig Ziglar's son." I'm like, "Who's Zig Ziglar?" I don't know.
That's so funny.
I've lived, like me being in the military, I've lived in a bubble.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know the outside world. So it's, again, that transition was difficult. Like I didn't know who Tony Robbins was either. Like who is this guy? Why is he what's he a big deal about? Like I knew. So my learning curve is pretty much straight up in the, as I have transitioned the last 4 years, I'm like, oh, eyes wide open.
It's great too, because it shows people you don't have to come from a business background to be successful in business.
Right.
You know, that you can take your whole life experience and apply all the lessons that you've learned into whatever it is that you want to do. So,
yeah, 100%. And so that's really the business coaching side of it is, you know, I'm taking my experience leading and failing as a leader in the SEAL teams and applying that to other people's organizations.
Yeah. And then next you have to write your book.
I'm sort of working on it.
Oh, are you?
So the 5 Seal Secrets will give you a preview of what my book will be. That'll be the skeleton of it.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to be an advanced reader when you have it ready for people to do early reading. Okay, William, thank you so much for joining me tonight. One more time, tell them the website, because some people had bad memories. They need your CBD oil.
So CBD is nw-recovery.com. And for 5 Seal Secrets, it's 5, the number 5, sealsecrets.com.
Yes. Y'all go get it and get naked.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it, William.
And so really quickly, before we go, if people want me to come in, if you want me to coach you or come speak at your organization, just download 5 Seal Secrets. You get an email directly from me and say, hey, we're interested in having you come speak or whatever. And we'll start that conversation. So
cool. Well, Ryan, the driver's dad, we will be having an entrepreneur conference sometime. We had to postpone it back when COVID started. So we'll have to have you there to speak with people.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, William. I appreciate you being here.